Hi there, everyone. Lars and Scott here with
Hello.
yet another preview for the season's upcoming anime. I have a need for some weeb.
Nerds, 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 weeb time.
Put this weeb into overdrive. See where it
Exactly.
goes.
Because we're Camille's
Reminder.
harem.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're Camille's harem. We go balls to the walls weird. And that's the way that we like to roll.
Right. I mean, and we're a harem, but we're not like a sexual harem, even though we do like a bit of creative innuendo at times.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're an intellectual harem. We're high-minded here.
Exactly.
Don't ship any of us with Camille. She's happily married. Don't do that. No, none of that.
That will just end up bad. That the harem dynamics are complicated, just warning you. But we're not here to talk about that right now. We're here to talk about upcoming anime.
Yep. And as a quick reminder and as a quick introduction, so for those of you who haven't seen this before or haven't seen us do this in a while, we get ready for the upcoming season of anime by previewing the manga that's available for us to get our hands on, and we try to read about 5 chapters in, get a feel for where the story is going, and then based off of that introduction, we then say whether or not we would recommend the upcoming anime or if we'll watch it.
That's what we've been doing since, 2019 now? Or it's been a
a
little
while,
bit
yeah.
now.
Yeah. It's
So,
been fun.
it has been a lot of fun.
This is a great way for me to get introduced to a lot of these stories. I know that, for instance, Chibi reviews, basically he just looks at like the poster and at the basic summary of all the upcoming anime and then kind of delivers his opinion based off of that. But I like diving into the manga to get more information.
Well, and Camille's Harem, it started and is mainly a writing vlog in most forms. So we talk about stories, we talk about story craft. To feel like to connect that to what we're talking about today, we kind of have to get a little bit in the story, and that's why we start reading the first 5 chapters. It's like watching the first episode of a show, and you get a feel for it as like, okay, am I interested in continuing to watch this or not?
The opening chapters of any story have to establish the feel, the atmosphere for the story, already kind of clue you into where this is potentially going, who these characters are, which is all good stuff, which, because I see Jujutsu Kaisen there on the list, that was actually one of the things that when we first previewed Jujutsu Kaisen, I was not sold on it because the opening chapters of the manga kind of all over the place. It was a very gutsy introduction for a fun story. Would I recommend people mimicking that? No, because you might lose people.
Yeah, they started the story with
Lost
like
me.
some characters that are like, oh, these could be interesting characters, and then you find out really quickly they don't matter. Like, it's only that one main character that you end up meeting that actually matters at all. You don't see that as often in anime. A lot of the time you get introduced to at least a couple of the main characters, like the main cast, within just the first little bit of the story. And Jujutsu Kaisen didn't really do that.
It was bold.
Yeah.
It was bold.
Yeah.
Incrementally introducing the main cast along the way. Woof.
They do say
normally
that.
Normally you would expect something like that. But sorry.
You're good. I was just gonna say that you hear it a lot with like different writing advice. Is like you have to know the rules first before you can break them, and I feel like this is the case with this one.
Yeah. Yeah, because what I was going to say is that normally, like, especially with, like, older shonen stories, like, you're introduced to your core cast of characters, and then the cast blows up, like, exponentially, like, within an arc or two. And then you're introduced to everyone else, and you get to know everyone else who's going to be playing a major part in the story from that point on. And Jujutsu Kaisen's like, nah, I'm going to let you get used to these characters right here, and I'm going to get rid of these characters, and I'll introduce this character who's going to be important for later. Hold on to that.
I think it's great storytelling, but yeah, so we do have Jujutsu Kaisen returning its second season, which I imagine a lot of people are excited about. I know there's a lot of people who won't touch anything but the anime. They don't want to read, they don't want to jump into anything, and so they will wait until the second season or like whatever continues before they actually watch it. Like the one that I see that the most with recently has been Demon Slayer, because like you'll talk to all sorts of people about Demon Slayer and they love it, but they've only watched up to what's released with the anime, and so you can't really talk to them about it if you've read all of the manga.
And the best stuff is still coming.
I know.
People are freaking out like about all this amazing stuff happening right now in the anime. I'm just like, but that's not even the best part. The best part's coming.
Right?
I'm so happy I read the manga right there. Fun thing though, for Jujutsu Kaisen, I have not read the middle of the manga, which is really weird. About like a year ago, I started reading at that point because I was just like, okay, then does this go off the rails? And it does. Where Jujutsu Kaisen is right now in the anime is no indicator of where it's going to end up. It goes off the rails. But it's still cool where it goes. And so this is just me. This is Lars being Lars. It's just like, do I then really want to read all of that because I now know where this is going? I'm just going to stick now with the current arc and just absorb all this information, and it clues you into who all these new characters are and everything as you read it. So I'm like, it's kind of weird because I'm like, I know that the people who've read the manga are really excited for this season. I'm not, just because I haven't read that stuff. I am very interested to where the anime is eventually going to end up, because, oh boy, it gets nasty. It gets insane later on. If you thought that Jujutsu Kaisen, like especially Jujutsu Kaisen 0, was already insane and crazy, that's just a taste tester of what's coming down the pipe.
Awesome. Well, that's something to look forward to. Our next one is going to be Mushoku Tensei, the jobless reincarnation isekai, which, like, compared to a lot of other isekai, I feel like this one's pretty good. I like the characters. I like the cast.
The grandfather of isekai, the grandfather of modern isekai.
It's up there. It's up there. Yeah, It's been around for a while. Even if the anime hasn't been around as terribly long, like the manga has been out for a fair amount of time.
And it was also based off of a web series, wasn't it?
I would believe that. Web series, light novel, there's a lot of them that they'll start out as like a web series, and if you try and like read it, you can tell it hasn't been edited in any way. One that I've looked into, which changed from like that to the actual light novel and then to the manga and the anime is so wide, is That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime, because that gap is huge. You read the web novel and it is translated in English, it's almost illegible, but it just got better and better and better, like the further up into that, in those levels that you got. Looking forward to see what the reception for this one is, because I know it got a pretty good reception when the first season came out. I'm wondering if it's gonna keep going, or if over the time since the first anime come out, if it's died down at all. And then we've got second season of Masamune-kun's Revenge.
I have no idea what this one is.
It's
I'll be all honest. I just pulled it up and I'm all like, what? What is this even? I did not recall this.
I haven't seen all of it. It didn't stick with me, but I feel like it could be fun to watch all the way through. But it's very much a rom-com with the main character wanting revenge because somebody was a jerk to him when he was like younger and fatter and didn't look as good. So he had a glow up and he's like, I'm gonna use this to get revenge on this one girl. And complications ensue. That'll be fun. We've got continuation of Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War, at least according to all of the lists that I've seen.
Oh boy. Okay, I could go on about Bleach. This is where the arc really gets good. This is also where the 1,000-Year Blood War arc gets really bad.
Oh no.
And I'm someone who loves Bleach. I defended Kubo until the very last chapter. Everyone else that I was hanging around with, who was following Bleach as it was being released chapter by chapter, had checked out before the end because they said that it wouldn't end well. I'm like, no, I have faith in Kubo. Then we get to the last chapter. There are so many incredible fights that are coming up, so many great reveals. I am excited for what the anime is going to dish out, but In order to make this part of the arc land, anime is going to have to actually resolve all of these different fights that Kubo never finished.
Okay.
It's just left hanging. It's one of the most
Okay.
frustrating and annoying things. So the anime will have a lot of anime original material.
Okay.
And I don't care what any other Bleach defender out there might say, like, this is going to be a moment of truth for Bleach. Can the anime redeem an awful ending? And the only reason why anyone likes the ending of Bleach is because they ship Ichihime. There's no resolution at all other than that certain ships set sail. And I have read that ending multiple times and tried to figure it out.
That's funny.
I'm hoping the anime does well.
Okay.
I'm so hoping the anime does well.
Then we've got, can't really call this a second season, but it's Horimiya, which first season was absolutely awesome. And it looks like what they're... Yeah, it's not necessarily a second season.
Is this the time skip?
In Horimiya? No. What they ended up doing, from what I've read, is that there was a bunch of little, like, stories that weren't put in the anime because they were trying to be concise and fit it into, like, the space that it did in the first season. And so they had to take away a bunch of the stuff that was in the manga, like different scenes and whatnot, in order to, like, create the first season. Well, now they're going back in and they're animating a whole bunch of those pieces that they missed. And, like, that's literally the name, is Horimiya the Missing Pieces for this season.
Okay.
Which,
that's interesting.
I'm excited about.
Yeah, that'll be good. Now, I kind of got excited right there because I had heard a rumor that the second season was going to be the time skip, and I was like, really? So soon? You're missing out on a whole lot right there.
Right. And maybe there is part of a time skip there. Maybe. I don't know. Just from some of the stuff I've read, they're adapting a bunch of, like, stories that weren't in the first season that come from the manga. I'm looking forward to that. The first season was a blast. That one's a fun one to watch.
Gorgeous season. And then we have the Burning Dumpster Fire, which is Rent a Girlfriend season.
Yep, we're getting to season 3. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. We don't need to talk about
I'm
this.
just going to bring this up again. Freaking, please don't tease me, Miss Nagatoro. Has done more with half the chapters, and it took an even worse relationship and made it now into, like, one of the most precious things you could ever read in manga. Screw you, Rent a Girlfriend.
Fair enough. All right. Let's see what else is there. Bungo Stray Dogs does have a 5th season that I'm seeing, which it just continues to go forward. That's one that I've wanted to keep watching. We just haven't found the time for it. They're making a remake of Rurouni Kenshin, old anime that was back in the 90s. They're doing a remake of that. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Oh boy.
I'm not seeing much else. Like you were saying before we started this, I feel like there were a bunch of anime that were on this list for this season that, like, when I went to make the list in the first place, I couldn't find, and I had to look and found that they'd been moved to either fall or winter. And I feel like that's because some companies are trying to fill the fall season. I feel like a lot more people end up watching anime in the fall because we've got these bigger studios releasing their stuff then. Because I've been looking at all these different studios, and there's some that are, like, fairly big and, like, surprised me, but a lot of them are either new or, like, not as well known.
And I don't know, this is just pure speculation right here, but I have a suspicion that they also are shunting some of their best stuff towards later, because it will be perfect to capitalize on the Western market. Hollywood's about to run out of new stuff to show. There will be a small slate of movies and new shows next year, but the writer's strike, which has now gone on for some months, has halted so much. Almost everything American has been pushed back a year.
Wow.
And so that means that indie and Eastern animation are going to dominate, and I mean, this is, once again, this is just speculation, but if it were me, especially now as more Western money is beginning to flow into the anime industry, that they're all like, yeah, we can afford to push this back another season. This will work.
I kind of like that. I mean, there are some negatives to it as well, but I do like it because for a while there, I kept seeing these stories about anime companies having to, like, crowdfund their anime and have to meet, like, a certain goal to, like, add each episode to the anime itself, and it's nice to see
Incredible.
that like some of these studios are getting past that point. They're able to like actually be profitable and keep pushing forward on this. But yeah, let's start at the bottom of this list, which we've got one that I actually really like. Gene of AI is a very it's very thought-provoking. It's fun. It's very charismatic in that regard. It's very much like a thought experiment like you see in a lot of like sci-fi short stories where you've got this like thought experiment behind it and you're like trying to figure out what's going on. But it's fun. I have my concerns about it, but I'll get into that later. What do you think of it, Lars?
This right here, this is going to be interesting since this is a very episodic way of tackling basically Blade Runner. My little note right here is that this is Blade Runner for children. And that doesn't mean that it's like super kiddish, rather that it's appropriate. Like I would not feel bad for having a young teenager or a preteen watching this in the room with me. Like I wouldn't have to worry too much about that. There would be a lot of things that might go over their heads, or this could be something that they really gravitate towards, as this, in a very episodic way, explores the different questions of what happens when you incorporate AI into society. And not just simply, hey, I've got a computer that I can speak to, but we've put that computer into a human body.
Right.
And it's really interesting. There's a main character who kind of serves as the through line for all of this. I don't really know much about him, to be all honest. It's each individual story, though, that either grips you or doesn't.
Right. Out of any of the ones this season, I feel like this one has some serious potential to be like really well animated and well written, though, because I am looking at the list of stuff that Madhouse, the company that is animating this one, and they have quite the catalog of different stuff they worked on. I feel like some of these they didn't do just by themselves. They worked with other companies to do, but that happens a lot when you're making these big blockbuster anime movies. Like they did Summer Wars, Paprika, Wolf Children, The Girl Who Jumped Through Time, Perfect Blue. They worked on Tokyo Godfathers, Redline. There's a whole list of these different anime movies, and almost all of those have been brought over to the States, like officially brought over in movie theaters. Tokyo Godfathers is my go-to Christmas movie. Not just like an anime for Christmas. It is my go-to Christmas movie. Like that is my personal tradition around Christmas, is I have to watch Tokyo Godfathers because it's such a beautiful Christmas story. Even though it wasn't intended as a Christmas story, it is my Christmas story.
Kind of like a Die Hard. It's a Christmas movie, okay?
Yep. Though, like it's like simultaneously hilarious and bizarre, but like also heartwarming at the same time, and I love that movie.
I was just gonna say, Paprika is like delving into the mind of Lars, or at least seeing how like my imagination works, because the basic premise of Paprika is that in order to help people out with psychiatric evaluations and with trauma, these scientists invent a device that allows them to link up dreams. The only problem is that this device can also project dreams, and so this psychopath gets his hands on one of these devices and begins murdering people using dreams. And it gets really funky real fast.
Oh no. But yeah, like, and some of these anime, they worked on Black Lagoon, Overlord, Death Parade, Death Note, No Game No Life, Trigun way back in the day. See, Claymore, they did A Place Further Than the Universe. See, Tact Op Destiny they helped on, which that one, I don't know about the story, but the animation on that one's really neat. But I'm looking forward more to this one now, just after looking at this catalog that they've done a lot of stuff for. I feel like this one has some serious potential to be really good.
Really good. I think it does too, and at the very least by the story. Like, I think, like, the animation, the animation can be gorgeous, but for this is really something where it's about the story.
Right.
I think for people who like stuff, like, for anyone who's interested in the conversation about AI, this is a very timely story to be adapted.
Right. And I love a good, like, near future sci-fi. You get all these sci-fi stories and they're like so far in the future that it's harder for us to like connect to like everything that's going on there. This one definitely feels a lot closer to home. That's part of the reason I love Andy Weir's The Martian, like the movie and the book versions of that, because it was such a fun look into like near future sci-fi. So I feel like this has a chance to be really good. Some of my concerns I was gonna mention, I'm not as worried about it anymore now anyway, mostly because my concerns were along the lines of I didn't know where they could take this story. I wasn't seeing a specific plot being like put together within what I've read. I wasn't sure where the actual story was going to go. I like the characters. I like the conundrums and the thought-provoking stuff that they're talking about and getting into. But I wasn't sure how that was going to turn into a fully fleshed out story. But now I'm not as worried because I feel like Madhouse will figure it out. It'll be an interesting one to get into at least. This one's definitely on my watch list.
Yeah, they've got a good track record based off of everything you listed. So this is one that I'm definitely going to give a try. There's like 2 stories that I've read from the manga that I'm like, it's interesting. I want to see how they adapt that.
Right. Let's see.
One story that I definitely want to see how they adapt is Undead Girl Murder Face.
Isn't that the most ridiculous name? And I love it. Oh man. Yeah. And like, and it's not like it's translated from Japanese and this is the English title. No, this is the actual name in Japanese as well. They just put it all in katakana. It is Undead Garu Mada Face. That is the name of the actual story. I love it. The thing with this one is had a paywall. You basically had to subscribe to whatever company was releasing the manga for this. Yeah. We'll see on this one. It looks interesting.
Fantastic.
Let's see, the Lappin track they did Love is Hard for Otaku. They did Android, Sarazanmai. Animation-wise should be good, and the art for what I saw of Undead Girl Murder Face looked absolutely bizarre. I loved it.
Yeah, this is one that I definitely want to check out here, even though I know next to nothing about it because of the paywall. The opening art for it, I was like, you have my attention. Now what?
Right? So, yeah, this one will be fun. I'll at least look into it. I don't know if it's on my watch list yet, but there's a good chance I'll watch the first episode and decide from there, if that makes sense. All right, let's move on to the next one, brought to you by Satellite, which did Fairy Tail, Log Horizon, Hellsing Ultimate, Nunbaka, and they go back a little ways too. They did Shugochara, Macross F. They did Gwyn Saga back in the day. I love the animation on that. Looks like they did a lot of the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya and Moretsu Pirates. Okay. They've got a backlog. This one could be pretty good too. Though I love the story for this one because it is very... very self-aware isekai, but it's called Helck.
I loved reading this.
This one's hilarious. Like, it starts off and you feel like it's just this like gag manga that's making fun of all these different isekai, hero, demon lord nonsense, and you feel like it's just doing is making fun of it. But the deeper you get in the story, the like deeper and darker it gets, and
I love intense.
That. It gets super intense. Like, you start realizing there's like, there's some weight here.
Like, here's the thing. So at the beginning of the beginning of the recording, we talked about like having like a good opening to let people know what the story is all about. That's what the manga does really well. If you're not, and the thing is this, I wasn't even really paying attention to I decided to read the prologue chapter. Yeah. And the prologue chapter already lets you know in a funny way that it's going to get intense. Yeah. And you only realize it after the fact.
Right.
That fact, because you have this, the prologue chapter is a dungeon crawl for the villain. And you see her dungeon crawling, which is hilarious. It's such a funny sequence. and then she gets to the final boss, and then there's a revelation which you don't take all seriously. Again, you think it's a gag. After 5, that revelation comes back around, you're like, oh, something's
right?
It's going down.
And like it really gets your mind going, because like it has a lot of really fun characters, a lot of great humor written into it, and it's a long manga. It goes on and on and on. I don't think I've even finished it, and I've read a good, I feel like 100 chapters of it.
I think it's got like 180 chapters.
Yeah,
I have to double check, but
it keeps going, but like it really makes you like start to question. It's like, okay, who are the good guys, who are the bad guys in this, what is like really going on? There's a lot of like deep elements like attached to this, and I loved it, and I'm so excited to see this one come out in an anime. I don't think almost anybody, at least Western wise, knows about this one, but I feel like this one's a fun one to watch. This one's on my watch list. I feel like there's some fun ones on my watch list this season.
Yeah, and this Helck is definitely one that I want to get into. I mean, we've kind of been skirting around it right here, but basically, like, the opening is that Demon King has been killed, the demons need a new ruler, and a human comes to participate in the wackiest, like, gladiator games of all time, and the guy is, like, super wholesome, super, like, he's Hercules. He is wholesome Hercules. And, like, he's super nice to everyone. Like, all the demons love him. And, like, this one demon's like, I have to kill him somehow. He's just a human. But they can't kill him, so they're trying to find ways of, like, making him lose.
Well, and that's the thing.
It's so funny.
He's the hero who defeated the Demon King. You find out really quickly. And
he isn't. They say he's the brother of the guy who defeated the Demon King.
Oh, that's right.
He's one of the heroes, but they pull up because they pull up a picture of him and his brother, and they're all like, "Oh, we can see how we made that mistake."
Right? Exactly. But I love this so much. I'm so excited for this one. I am so excited for this one.
I'm also excited for the next one.
I am excited for the next one. This one is absolutely wild, and it is insane. Oh, it's by the same company who did Summertime Render. I am now more interested. And Nagatoro Senpai. They did Komi-san. They did a bunch of the Pokemon movies. Yeah, I'm more interested in this one now. And the anime looks absolutely crazy. And like the manga anyway, looks absolutely crazy. And I love, this one definitely went higher up on my watch list. This is fun. So this one's called Dark Gathering. Oh man, this one is absolutely insane. And like we've got a lot of anime out there that talks about like the supernatural and like the darkness involved with it. And you've got this main character who just naturally attracts that kind of stuff to him. And he ends up basically becoming this tutor to this like little elementary school girl that somehow or another has this way to like beat up and like take care of ghosts, and ends up solving some of his problems. But she's freaking creepy, man. She is so freaking creepy, and it's hilarious.
Creepy that the others, like, evil spirits refuse to get close to her because they're creeped out by her.
Oh,
and she's violent to them.
Have you gotten far enough to like realize how she has like immunity against most spirits?
I don't think I've gotten that far. I read through chapter 5. I think I read through like chapter 6. So I haven't gotten to how she's developed an immunity, but like
it
woof.
It is the most like metal. There's a reason these ghosts are scared of her, and it is absolutely insane. Like to the point where the main character
is also like
insane. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating curse, because he ends up like has his nerve endings coming out of his hand, and they just keep growing, and he has to get them like surgically removed by like a blessed sword every single time.
Sacred sword.
Yeah. Oh, it is. This one's fun. This one's gonna be super fun to watch. I feel like it balances
I love the little girl.
Right? It balances the horror aspect with like its humor aspect really well. And I loved what I saw of like the character's growth in what I've read. So I think this one's gonna be a really fun one to watch.
Yeah. I like the character Aiko, his childhood friend who's the cousin to the little girl.
Oh, yeah.
She's like the unexpected glue that keeps everything together. She's not just there to be shipped.
Right.
She's not just the busty cute girl. Like, she serves a very important narrative function throughout
Right.
the entire story, and she has a fantastic personality to back it up
Right.
as well. That
But
really
she...
keep because if it wasn't for her, the two main characters, like the guy, would be spending his entire life
Mhm.
running away from this little girl as she's chasing him.
Right, exactly. Though I feel like that character, like Aiko, has enough like narrative weight to her. Like, we're gonna find out what's going on her side of the story at some point. I just, from what I've read in the manga, I haven't gotten to that point yet. But there's stuff going on her end for sure, and it's related to everything that's going on with the main character and the little girl.
Yeah, again, the winks and the nods. Like, the first chapter
Mhm.
lets you know right off the bat what kinds of stuff you're getting into, and it does
Right.
not disappoint from there. In fact, it just ratcheting it up from there. As like a quick like preview to like one of the things, like there's like a possessed attempted mass suicide.
Yep.
It's like super dark and yet at the same time kind of funny. Like, it's really demented and you can't look away from it.
Just wait until you get to the
It's
demon
so
babies.
bonkers.
Just wait until you get to the demon
Oh, no.
babies. Oh crap. That was
Oh, no.
that was disturbing
Oh.
in so many levels. Oh man. Anyway. So, yeah, this one's a really fun
this
one.
is one to watch. Dark
Yep.
Gathering is one to watch.
One to watch. Yep. All right, let's move on up. We're going to move on to The Dreaming Boy is a Realist, which I feel like the idea of this one is fantastic, but it doesn't work in manga form.
So slow.
It is so super slow, and I'm
A
worried how they're going
one-shot.
to handle it.
It is a one-shot idea.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's so much like exposition and so much of like, I mean, I love a good character voice, but it's almost entirely just that one character's character voice. Just like his thoughts and like how he's handling the situation. I feel like you can tone that back down. You can give more of like reactions of the other characters. You can not use so many freaking text boxes in the manga, and it would be a much more enjoyable story. But I love the idea of it because you've got this guy who's like absolutely in love with this girl that he sits next to, and us as the readers, we're not dumb. We know she's into him. He suddenly wakes up, realizes a lot of the stuff he's been doing is creepy, and like his Chunibyo ends at that point, and he starts being a more realistic person, like starts like handling stuff in a more like in a better, more healthy way. And everybody's like, "What happened to you? Like, you used to be this like strange weirdo that was always after the girl." Yeah. Pretty much, but
by a soccer ball. He overreacts to a soccer ball, but in the best way possible.
Right? And
I'm just gonna say this. I really do identify with how he processes things, because that was me my senior year of high school. Like, coming into I'm like, I've been doing this all wrong. I gotta change myself for the better, enjoy myself afterwards, and I do like potential for where the story could go.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, like, it's so hard to deliver on that in manga form because it's too slow.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's super slow. It has potential to be a really fun like rom-com, but I'm not actually a fan of the girl, the heroine of the story, because she ends up
awful.
Yeah, I know, she's awful. She ends up being this like tsundere character that like she's just as dense as like the main character is a lot of the time, and it's gonna end up causing her more problems than it is him. And
the girl that he is like quote unquote going out with is like a better female lead, but she's not interested in him. She's just needs a guy friend because of the issues that are happening with her boyfriend.
Right.
Which again, I like that, where it's not like I'm going to make him jealous. Like, at first everyone's like, oh, she's trying to make her boyfriend jealous, but then it's just like, I just need a guy friend.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, that makes sense. That checks.
They outright like build up this whole confession scene once like the main character, he realizes like, oh, well, I need to stop acting creepy. I need to stop coming onto this one girl over and over and over again. And like, I just need to rip the Band-Aid off. I need to ask her if she wants to date me. And they do this confession. And now, like, in my mind, and I may be completely wrong at this, but in my mind, the ball is in the girl's court. Like, it is up to her to decide whether she wants to act on that. But I don't think she's going to, because like, she's playing up that tsundere like angle way too hard. Like, she's too embarrassed, she's too afraid to take that step, and you have to, it's one of those situations where you either have to take the jump or you have to back off. You can't stay in the middle, because that's just going to end up hurting you.
Exactly. Yeah. Healthy dating advice from Camille's Harem. Yeah. No, like, the main female lead is from the two single guys in Camille's
from the two
harem.
single guys in Camille's harem. Yep. Because everybody else is either married or has a fiance already.
We have lots of experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, man. All right.
It's all good. Because we've been in this game longer than them, we have more advice to give.
I don't feel like I have any advice. I have almost no dating experience whatsoever. But that's neither here nor there. We're talking about anime, not dating.
Yep. We're talking about a dating anime.
Yeah.
Shifting gears to another rom-com right here. Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence. Aww.
This one was fun. This one was kind of like, just kind of a wholesome break after like some of the others I was reading. Because I actually read this list like bottom to top. And like, after reading Dark Gathering and The Dreaming Boy is a Realist, this was a breath of fresh air. This was an actual breath of fresh air.
That I have here as a note: fluffy, cute, interesting. The slice of life version of Make the Exorcist Fall in Love with nothing bad ever happening.
Yeah.
Because it, like, reading this, I'm just like, oh my gosh, these are the characters from Make the Exorcist Fall in Love. But there's nothing bad happening. There's no war with the devil. There's no possession. There's no the main character hasn't been tortured by the abbots who raised him. Like, it's just fluffy goodness between these two people in a church. And I found myself laughing a lot while reading it.
Yeah.
And like, that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this one's good. This one's just fun, easy slice of life. If you're into that stuff, this is perfect anime for you. It has kind of a fantasy element to it, which is nice. But I think it'll be a fun one. Just like fun one to watch, like if you want a break from all the really heavy stuff you end up watching.
You just have to deal with a dense protagonist because Pastor Lawrence is just like a brick wall. Nothing is getting through to him, which is why I like the other character who gets introduced later on who's just all like, oh, I see what's going on here. It's just like, I'm gonna break you.
Right? That's hilarious. That is hilarious. All right, and then let's move on to our next one, which is Reborn as a Vending Machine. It's happened, folks. We now have an anime isekai of someone that has been reborn in a fantasy world as a modern-day vending machine.
Why does this story work? Because it works!
They put so much thought into like how this works out. They put so much thought into like the characters and like the abilities of this person who is now a vending machine and like how he has to communicate with people because he's just a vending machine. It's hilarious. Like it's
and the
genius.
Characters are great too. And here's the thing: so there's I was reincarnated as a sword. It's interesting because a guy is stuck as a sword. And he's got his adopted daughter, and he's living out his video game fantasies in this other world with his adopted cat daughter. And it's cute, it's wholesome, and there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun action. In this right here, the guy can barely communicate. He can only do what a vending machine can do.
Right?
But with magic, he's a magic vending machine.
Yeah.
So communication is so minimal. So you have this guy who's trying to like use what few resources are at his disposal to communicate to other people and to help out the main female lead as she's going on to become the hero. Yeah. And she's a fun character. Got a nice rack, but you have to say it. But like, there's more to her than just that, which is again something that's nice to see. Like that's why the story works so well. The characters are good.
Yeah.
It's a stupid premise that works way too well.
uh, and that's the thing. A good writer can take a stupid premise and turn it into something great, but it doesn't work very well the other way around.
Nope. Yep.
So this one's fun. I'm
This is
definitely gonna
one that
watch
I've
this
got
one.
my eye
Yep.
on.
All right, let's move on to My Tiny Senpai, which is like whole levels of wholesome.
Mm-hmm. I have my little note right here. Cute. Kind of reminds me of working at my first job because, like, it was my first job. My first job. I'm in college. I'm working at the main university bookstore. Tons and tons of different people there all working, and there were some girls that were working there who were really cute and kind of took me under their wing and helped me out with figuring out things around the bookstore. And I just had like a really great relationship with these girls. Did I have crushes on them? Absolutely. Did they go anywhere? Absolutely not. So like this is kind of like the wish fulfillment kind of thing where like the new guy has that romantic connection with the girl who's been at the job a little bit longer, and it's good. It's just nice. It's really nice.
It's really nice, and I love that it actually like dives into the trope in a lot of like romance stories where you don't have just the like rom-com stuff between the two main characters. You've got like the other cast of characters who also have their own rom-com stuff going on, and it's fun. I really like it. I'm looking forward to this one. This one's a fun one.
Yeah.
This one's
just good wholesomeness. I think for those people who liked the anime My Senpai is Annoying, which is a similar setup of an office romance, I feel like My Tiny Senpai is going to reward you more for watching it than My Senpai is Annoying because of how slow the romantic progression is for My Senpai is Annoying. And that one's more about playing up the gags, whereas My Tiny Senpai is really more about here's the fluffiness and the goodness, we're going to heal your soul with this with this romance.
I love a good slice of life like this, though. Like it's fun to watch this. That's part of the reason why like Yuta Camp is one of my favorite anime, just because it's just so wholesome and fun, and it doesn't need to be anything more than that, really. And this one will be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Let's move on to our next one. Not as wholesome. Well, actually, no. Really wholesome, but a whole lot more depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this one. I enjoyed reading this one.
Yeah.
But it was draining.
Yeah. I've read the light novel for it, at least the first two like volumes of the light novel for it, and it goes into more depth on like a lot of the stuff that you miss out in the manga. And yeah, it is dark. What you're looking at is it's basically it's a Cinderella story. It's a classic Cinderella story, but it's told in more modern day Japan, but there's also this like supernatural element involved with it. It relates to how like the heroines and the hero, their fame, their notoriety, what makes their family big and prestigious.
Yeah, the
basically is based around their magic kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'll admit to this right here. I think I would get even more out of the story if I knew more about turn of the century Imperial Japan.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole lot that I see that's playing around where I'm like, it's kind of like Demon Slayer, where you can tell that it's Japan going into a new age.
Yeah.
The Demon Slayers are slowly being left behind in the dust as technology is evolving. That's kind of what's happening right here. The way that the arranged marriages work in this story, My Happy Marriage, you can tell by what the characters are saying, this is quickly becoming outdated in the modern world. The modern world's moving forward. Imperial Japan is about to take its strides forward in expanding its empire. But you have then at the center of these much bigger things, you have this very hyper-focused story on a Cinderella character who is being used as a pawn in very brutal political games between different families who are vying for that power and prestige.
Right.
And it just makes her far more of a tragic character, and it makes the hero ultimately a really good guy, even though he's so abrasive.
Right.
Because he's moving forward. He's moving forward with the rest of Japan, and so he's not quite as locked into these antiquated games as all the other all the other noble houses are.
Right. This one, there's a lot of depth to it. There's a lot of genuineness. I just really like this
Mhm.
one, and I've liked it since I spotted the light novel on the store shelves at Barnes and Noble, and I picked it up. It's a good one, but like you were saying at the start, it's depressing. There's a lot of weight to it, so maybe read this one a little bit and then switch over to My Tiny Senpai for a bit, just so you can like kind of let off some of that like darkness that you pick up, if that makes sense.
It's legitimately heartbreaking because you're like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Because with the Cinderella fairy tale, we get a very brief glimpse of just how bad Cinderella has it. And we can understand that she's been used and abused by her stepmother and stepsisters.
Right.
This story,
This goes into depth
like,
on like what that
lets
is.
you seep in that.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, it's rough.
It is
Then,
very
then
rough.
again, that's what makes it so wholesome. This is why
Mm-hmm.
it's called My Happy Marriage, because this marriage is so healing and liberating for
And
the woman.
I feel like it's great for both characters though, because you get like this healing, liberating for like the main character, for the lady involved. But then you've got the hero, the guy, he's learning how to be more emotional, be more like in touch with his feelings, and it like how to handle people better. And I feel like the fact that they're both like getting positives from this relationship is a big reason why the story works.
Absolutely. I've been thinking like when as the anime airs, an analysis. Maybe
Ooh.
I'm not holding myself to this, but I might do an analysis of the gift scene when he leaves her a gift.
Oh, yeah.
Because dang it, that scene worked so well.
Uh-huh.
And it's something so simple and yet so powerful. Ah, that was good.
Nice. Nice. All right, let's move on to our next one. Another really wholesome one. This one's goes back more into the rom-com kind of school life kind of situation, but it's called The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses. And this one's just cute. This one's really cute. Just like all the shenanigans that involved with like whenever she forgets her glasses, which she does a lot. Either that or they're broken.
Yeah.
And she just can't see, and the guy's like
Both.
just so worried for her because she keeps like messing up these different things.
Because she's legally blind.
Right?
It's so I laugh so hard reading this manga. Like every chapter just delivers. It's so funny. It's so cute. And like the thing is this is that it works. Like there's some rom-coms where you feel like this is a contrivance.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, a character forgetting her glasses so often can be seen as a contrivance, but I will say this, as someone who has had to grow up with glasses, when you first start getting glasses, it is very easy to forget them. It's hard to
Mm-hmm.
live life with glasses. It takes a long time to get used to them to the point where you're all like, I can't function without them. And that's one of the very first things you do when you wake up in the morning is you find your glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can infer what's happening with this poor girl, and it coincides so well with the boy right next to her being all like, oh my gosh, she's so cute, I want to get to know her better. And so he has all these opportunities to help her out and to get to know her better because he's helping her navigate life without being able to really see, but he's also just like he's like oh no, this is also like breaking the social norms and the personal bubble that we're all supposed to have.
I love that so much. And like I love how it like even in just what I've read, which wasn't too much of it, and there's a lot of story after like the first 5 chapters. But like it got to the point where she's like, I like being next to you. You help me out when I'm having issues. Like you're cool. I like you. Kind of idea. And so you can actually see like progress in that way, which is nice. I like it.
I love where their relationship goes. I've read pretty far into this manga,
Nice.
and I really, really do enjoy where it goes. It's so wholesome. It's
Nice.
so much fun. And the writer captured, I think, like, young teens very well, where it's like it's without being overly horny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's something that like there's a temptation to do that, to dive into the horniness because that sets up the hot and steamy situations and it's sensational.
Mm-hmm.
But there's actually I think way more skill involved and way more character development involved to set up those more wholesome and meaningful moments characters that make you laugh, that make you think, that make your heart go out to these characters. Anyone can do hanky panky, and it doesn't even have to be good, and people will read it. But to hold your attention for a long, sweet rom-com, that takes skill.
That does take skill. All right, let's move on to our last one, which I think is going to be one of our bigger ones. I at least know the manga is pretty well like it was really well received when it came out here in the States. It's called Zom 100, and if you're thinking Zom and you're thinking zombies, you're right. It takes such a different view than most zombie stories, because most zombie stories are just like, oh crap, the apocalypse is happening, we gotta survive, this is terrible. You've got this main character who's like stuck in this horrible freaking job, and like the zombie apocalypse happens, and he's like, I don't have to go back to my job anymore. This is freaking awesome. And like that's the entire tone of the
he becomes so much a better person,
right?
Yes. Like he's such a good person. Like he's like I have time to clean up my apartment, so he just cleans up his apartment in the middle of the zombie apocalypse. He's all like, and he's like, oh my gosh, I feel so much happier now. I can sleep better too.
Right.
And I like how he's trying to help out his neighbors and everything. Like, he's a genuinely good guy. He's just like, I can live my life the way I want to.
Did you get far enough to get to the aquarium when he's like trying to be a superhero and whatnot, and he gets to the aquarium?
Superhero. That's so good. You know, and it's so smart too. Like this story, like it's so insane. It's so over the top, and yet it makes sense in its own weird way.
Except for the zombie shark, okay? That zombie shark was something else.
Zombie shark is well, I mean, it just goes hand in hand with zombie stuff. Like,
I guess.
And the fact that like Tokyo is just constantly burning. It's like, okay, like the zombie apocalypse has already been going on for like a month now. The fires should have gone out.
Right.
And the city is still burning.
This isn't 1940s Japan. It's not going to keep burning like that. Everything's actually made from like metal and stone now.
What I really enjoy with the story is how now that he's free, he finally makes a bucket list.
Yeah.
And his bucket list leads him to do all these things that he's always wanted to do, whether it be with like romance or like personal goals and whatnot. And what's great is that he's always constantly adding to the list as well. And he actually accomplishes a whole lot too. As he goes and like rescues a friend, goes and rescues people, tries to be a superhero, and he kind of succeeds, but he also fails at the same time. Like it's so refreshing to have a character who's just like so happy-go-lucky and earnest in the middle of the worst situation possible.
Right.
And is making the most of it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This one's fun. It's super fun. It like completely turns like the normal horror like aspects of like a zombie apocalypse on its head, and it's just fun.
Yeah, fun is the word. This is one though that if the anime is anything like the manga, this is not meant for kids or young teens.
No, definitely not.
It does get graphic, and not just like gore graphic. There's some graphic sexuality stuff that happens as well. So that should be something to put out there.
And the freaking like friend of his just constantly getting naked. There's that too.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing I like about the guy. The guy isn't just some dweeb, some wimpy dweeb who's now living his life. The guy's a rugby player too. So like, again, it just weirdly makes sense like that he has the strength, the stamina, and the skill with like hordes of zombies.
I am a little worried about maybe not, because I'm looking up Bug Films, which is the people who are making Zom 100, and I'm like, I don't see anything else under their name. They must be pretty new. But I go into their website.
They are really new.
But they've cooperated on.
This is Netflix funded.
Oh, it is. Okay, that explains it.
Yeah, Netflix took over this one, so.
Okay, well that explains why they helped work on like Komi-san, but they also cooperated on making Summertime Rendering too. So there could be some potential to this. Okay, I like that.
The trailer for Zom 100 is like so fluid. It's so
nice,
so good.
Nice. So that's another one.
This is one I'm gonna have to watch.
Yeah. All right. What ones do you think are on your list?
The ones I'm definitely going to watch, at least as far as like the new stuff goes.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch Zom 100. It's just way too much fun. The girl I like for our glasses that is going to be one that I'm just going to keep coming back to. That one is going to be like my healing one.
Yeah.
I want to watch My Happy Marriage. I'm not sure if I'm going to watch that week to week or if I'm going to binge it.
It might be better to binge. Like rip it off like a Band-Aid.
I think this one would be better binge.
Yeah.
Kind of like watching the one with the girl with the prosthetic arms.
Oh.
Crud, why am I forgetting this one? It has such beautiful music, amazing animation.
It's the Violet Evergarden.
Violet Evergarden. Yeah. There we are. Thank you. Yeah, Violet Evergarden is one that I'm like, that's one that I feel like you have to binge, but it wrecks you.
It wrecks you.
Because watching it just week to week is so draining.
Episode 10 absolutely wrecked me. The one with like the mother having her write the letters to her daughter because she's got cancer and is gonna die soon. That one wrecked me so bad, and I was like staying the weekend at my parents' place when I was watching that, and like it wrecked me so bad. I just had to go in, give my mom a hug, and then just cry in her shoulder, and she had no idea what was going on, why I was crying or anything. She's just like, there, what is going on? Are you okay?
Oh, it's such a Violet Evergarden. I mean, My Happy Marriage is no Violet
right.
Evergarden, but like that's one where I'm just like, ooh. Well, we'll have to see. I think I'll watch the first episode as it comes out, and I'll feel it out from there.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll watch
my Tiny Senpai. It might be one that I watch if I have the chance.
Yeah.
Reborn as a vending machine. I'll watch it. Saint, Cecilia, and Pastor Lawrence. That's one that I'm going to watch kind of as it goes along. Don't know if I'll get around to Dreaming Boy. Gathering, most definitely. Helck, most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll binge Bleach. I'm not going to watch Bleach. I don't think I'll watch Bleach as it comes out week to week. I think that's one I'm going to wait to binge because I've already gone through that process of waiting week to week to week with Bleach, and I've already been burnt by Bleach, so I'm not going to relive that again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold my happy memories of Bleach and just binge it.
Right. Let's see. For me, I'm probably gonna see Zom 100's a really good one. My Happy Marriage, I really love the story. Like, I love the light novel. I want to see how they do it in the anime, so probably gonna watch that one. Reborn as a vending machine just looks fun. So, like, a lot of the same stuff there. Dark Gathering's on my list. Helck's on my list. I'm gonna give the Gene of AI a chance because it looks really good and has like a lot of potential, and I want to give it a chance. And I want to give Undead Girl Murder Face a chance too, but like when I say give it a chance, I'm probably just gonna watch the first episode or two and see where it goes.
I think that's really reasonable, given what we so far know of the story.
Right?
How little we know of it.
Right? All right, sounds good. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Need for Weeb, a side project of Camille's Harem, and let us know what you want to watch. And like talk about any of the ones we didn't talk about. We talk about ones that have like manga or like stories that we can look into, but there's a lot of other anime coming out this season. And we want to, and we want to hear from you what you're interested in for the summer anime season.
Most definitely. Yeah, there'll be some good stuff. The heavy hitters are probably being left for the fall, but there's some good stuff right here. So let's hear what you're excited about. Which anime you definitely intend on watching or binging or waiting to binge. And thank you very much for joining us on this adventure that we call writing that weaves its way through anime and manga all the time because good stories are good stories. We read them, we learn from them.
Nice.
And with that being said, until the next video, y'all, tschüss!